Hey folks, in this one I'm going to give you a quick overview of how to kill Dimensius on normal difficulty, mainly from a tank perspective. However, a lot of this will apply to DPS as well, or healers if you're interested. This, in my opinion, is probably the coolest looking raid fight ever, in my view, and even on normal difficulty I really enjoyed this boss, and I'm hoping that carries on into the harder difficulties as and when we get to it as well. So, first things first, when you get to the boss room, there will be two gateways, one on the right side, which is what I'm on, and then one on the left side. As soon as you click these, you will start the encounter, so do not click them, or use your action button, I should say, until you are ready to pull the boss. You want to split your group up into two sides, tank in each group, and healers and DPS accordingly. As soon as you're ready to start the fight then, and you set your pull timer off, you use your extra action button, and off you go. When you land into the platform, there are two ads, one on the left side, one on the right side. You nuke it down and it will drop excess mass, which somebody needs to pick up. Now what we did here is we ran into the middle, which is where the first tank will start the boss. Whoever picks up the excess mass, when Dimensius casts Devour and tries to swallow you, you will automatically drop a debuff puddle, which will prevent you from being sucked into the boss. So, as the boss starts then, the main tank wants to run into the middle of the room, pick up the boss, and then everybody will stack on top of him, or you'll do it on your separate sides, whichever you prefer. The boss will then go into its main rotation, and Dimensius will cast the tank ability Massive Smash, which puts a large blue ring around the person who has aggro, in which case that was me, and it will do a knockback. So you need, as a tank, to position yourself so you're not knocking people off, and everyone else needs to respond appropriately. You then do the tank swap, and the next tank picks it up, and you run to your appropriate side. As I'm running then to my side, you can see here I get an ability placed on me along with everybody else, which is a small purple circle that you all need to spread for, and the DPS will be focusing down the smaller ads and picking up their orbs as necessary. Now, very similar to the Sarkareth fight, you will also get these large puddles on either side. You need to wait until the puddle explodes and then go in and soak the boss. As you can see, we actually lost aggro here, and I took aggro against the tank who was supposed to be having him, should have taunted him back off me, ready for the Massive Smash, so I could stay on the right hand side so that my debuff can fall off. Now, depending on your group composition and your gearing and such, you should be able to phase him on normal fairly quickly, and you might only get one Devour. You can see the other tank's got the knockback, and you can see how far it pushes you away. At that point, I then move into the middle of the room and pick up the boss, as the DPS will just carry on as normal. There will be another Devour phase if you get it. It's exactly the same as the start. DPS picks up the little orb that drops on the floor. You will automatically drop it, and you just need to be ensured that you're stood in it for when that Devour goes off. But as you can see, we phase the boss before he does it. When the boss phases then, you will get lifted up off the ground, and you'll get sucked in, and Xal'atath will catch you mid-air. When you stop, you'll get a little notification to say that you can now mount. You click or press your mount on your action button, and then you will be able to take off and start flying through these rings. When you do, you need to dodge these rocks that are flying throughout, and you need to go through the checkpoint, similar to just like a dragon riding race, and you need to avoid Dimensius' beam that is going through. I think this looks really cool and cinematic. I don't know how it's going to feel on Mythic though, as you're pulling the boss so many times. So when you land, there will be a large ad on the platform, and there are two platforms. One of the tanks needs to pick him up, and what we found was helpful was to just move ever so slightly off the middle. And the reason being is, as you can see, you will get these puddles spawning, which is where the little ads are going to spawn. So if you move them just to the off-center, you can dodge the spawn of them. And what you want to do is you want to pick an ad, one of these small ads here, and you want to nuke it down as fast as possible. And the reason being, and what you'll notice is I have my camera facing Dimensius, is he will move one of his arms. So in this case then, he moves, as I'm looking at it, his right arm backwards, which means he is going to cast his ability down the middle and the right hand side of the platform as I'm looking at it. So at which point I call out moving left, and everybody in the raids moves all the way to the left through the gap that you've just created so that you don't get killed by the area of effect denial. Now when you're tanking this, there is a debuff applied to the tank, and ideally you want to be swapping before 10 stacks. However, on normal difficulty, we found we didn't really need to tank swap, and we were just carrying it through. You then kill it before Dimensius does a knockback, which you will see on the next platform. You fly through the rings, exactly the same again, and you will land on the third platform. Now what we did here when we landed on the third platform is you can see that the tank picks it up and we drag it to the opposite side of the platform. And the reason why we do this is, as you see now, is when we get to the end, I rotate and it's so I can see Dimensius again. Exactly the same. The cross spawns, you pick the small lad and you keep an eye out for which arm Dimensius is going to move. And in this case, it is his left hand arm. You'll see it go backwards now. So I call go right, and we all run across to the right hand side, dodge the area effect, and then stand next to one of the small adds that we are going to kill. Now, even though we kill this big ad in time, he's already started to do the pushback effect, and he will cast it. So even if you kill it, you will need to do the pushback. So you create the little gap, and then you aim your camera and you just run movement abilities, use everything that you've got to stay alive on the platform. Once you've killed it, you will then get sucked inside Dimensius and you will fight him for the final time in the third phase. As soon as you land, you want to pop Bloodlust. One of the tanks picks it up, and the DPS just pumps as hard as they can. There are a few abilities that you need to be aware of throughout this fight. So the first one is in a minute, or in a second, you will see small orbs spawning around the room. These are the orbs which you will use to avoid being sucked into Dimensius when he casts his Devour ability, which you will see in just a second. They do rotate, and there are annoying knockbacks in this, which does kill me in this pull. So the second mechanic then that we're going to talk about are these rings here. So here you can see a large blue ring spawning. Now if you've ever done the third boss in the raid in Shadowlands, which was Sepulchre, I think, where Anduin was in it, the third boss used to do this ability. He would fire out black rings, you'd run through it, you would then get a debuff, and you weren't allowed to go through the next ring until the debuff falls off. Exactly the same here. You'll see us all positioned close to this first one because the second one is spawning here. I've got a 3-second debuff. I'm moving to the left, it drops off. I then move, so I've got enough time for this to drop off here as well. Dimensius is now casting Devour, so you all move into one of these orbs here, which will prevent you from being swallowed by Dimensius. And he will then cast Supernova, which will pick one of these orbs, which you just stood in, and will do large AoE damage, so you need to move away from it. That will also turn it into a black hole, which means here, which you can see here, which means that you cannot use that for the next Devour effect. Now, as you can see, I died in our first kill, which was really frustrating and annoying, and I'm not 100% sure why, but as you can watch, I get knocked. As the AoE goes off, I get knocked here into Dimensius, and it looked like it came from the main tank, so just be mindful of where you're positioning so you don't get knocked towards Dimensius if possible. The last thing then to make you aware of, which you can just see here, is the tank mechanic, which is what you need to be aware of. Now, just here, in a second, you will see, in fact, let me go back a little bit further. It's just after I die that you see it. The tank, who has got the boss, will be targeted with an ability. So here, you can see, again, a large blue ring around the tank. What this does is it does a pull in. So when it goes off, everybody in the raid will be pulled towards the tank. So as tank, you want to stand still and you need to let everybody else position themselves so that they won't get pulled through the boss. Other than that, this phase on normal is rinse and repeat. You can see the rings going off again. making your way around the room so that you can have enough time before your debuff falls off, and just nuke the boss as hard as you can. He's not too difficult. It doesn't take too long. Just make sure that you don't go into any of these black holes rotating around the room on Devour if you get it again, and you stay away from the AoE damage from Supernova. Other than that, enjoy the kill. Like I said, it's a really good a really good boss in my opinion. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Heroic and Mythic bring. As I get through those, I will release more videos on raid bosses as we go throughout. But I hope you enjoy the new season, and thanks for watching.